Well, welcome to the Honig Trail Apiary. This is my little apiary. And first of all, wanted to point out my apiary toolbox. This is good, heavy thing. It's pretty much weatherproof. And inside you have the typical tools you need for beekeeping. My smoker, a lighter to light up the smoker, and this is a little butane, refillable butane lighter, and it works really great. And various other things that you see: bee brush, queen excluder, gloves, and a couple of hive tools. And what I did with the hive tools, hopefully you'll be able to see this, is I siliconed some magnets, very strong magnets, onto here. So this keeps my hive tools within easy reach. This prevents them from falling down to the bottom of the box and getting lost. They're just here, very accessible. The magnets hold them in place really well. So now let's go and take a little quick tour of the apiary here. So I have two hives here, and they're both 8-frame hives. And the reason I have 8-frame is because the honey supers I have are the flow hive honey supers, which are not on there right now. And but when the honey flow starts, probably in August, it's now about June 28th, I think, now, today. But these are the two hives that I currently have. And these are fairly new colonies. This one right here that you're looking at came as a package bees, about a 3-pound package. This other hive over here, this is from a 5-frame nuke, and they've only been installed for about a couple of weeks now, but they seem to be doing good. I just saw a load of pollen going in with there goes another one with a honeybee, and obviously they're out collecting pollen and probably some nectar. However, as you can see, I am feeding them also to get them a bolster. We're in the middle of a honey dearth right now. It's the hot part of June, and there's not a lot out there for them to forage on. Obviously, with the pollen and probably some nectar, the bees are finding something. But until our monsoon season starts up around the first week or two in July, and that'll run through maybe mid-September, the bees don't have a whole lot to forage on. And as you can see, I have put up a solar-powered electric fence around the apiary. Not so much to deter bears, because it's possible, but it would be a very rare thing to have a bear come in here. But mainly, and then the strands, as you might be able to make out here, they're not that far off the ground. They extend up maybe 22, 24 inches, but fairly low to the ground. Mainly, I decided to put the electric fence up is because we do have skunks here, and even though both hives are up a good 16 to 17 inches above the ground, that might be within reach of a skunk. And of course, they can come back nightly to a beehive and decimate the numbers of adult bees that they eat as they scratch at the entrances to have the bees come out to see what's going on. But I decided to put an electric fence up. So we do have skunks, we do have raccoons, foxes, bobcats. So if any of those do come around to check out the hives, maybe a stray dog, and also javelina, which is kind of like a wild pig, although they're in a different family. But they run around in groups, and javelina have a habit of, they like to get up against something. It could be a tree trunk, a fence post, a beehive, and rub against them. And they could topple over a beehive. And javelina can get up to a height of about 30 inches at the shoulder, and they're actually pretty strong and fearless. But if nothing else, electric fence should deter any javelina from coming in here to scratch themselves up against one of the hives here. So I already had a solar charger, and I just got a few fence materials and erected up just a little fence that surrounds the apiary, and so that's what that's all about. This is our watering source for the bees. They're not really using it completely just yet, but this little pan here holds about 1.5 gallons of water. I do have a drip emitter, which drips about the rate of about once a second. I think it's rated at 1 gallon per hour, and that'll keep this filled. And I put a cinder block in there to kind of help hold it down, but it's also a surface that the bees can land on to get access to the water. And then I have rocks in here, and even one little tiny branch that if bees should fall in, of course they can hang on to the outside too. But this drip system here, this allows them to come in and get good fresh water. And I usually dump the water out about once a week or so, but there's a constant supply, as you can see here through the drip emitter. There's a constant supply of fresh water for the bees. They haven't really started using it yet, but I think they will. And right now water is a good commodity, an important commodity for the bees, because we have hot temperatures. Yesterday it was 106 degrees here, and let's see what it is currently, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and it is currently, you can read this here, 86 degrees. Humidity is 28%. When I was out here yesterday, the humidity was down to about 11%. So this is my little apiary. I probably could stick a lot more hives in here, but I used to keep up to about 15 to 16 hives. And now that I'm semi-retired, I decided that I wanted to just have a couple hives in my backyard. And I picked this spot because, and I'll try to show you that here, I am surrounded by some mesquite trees, small mesquite trees, and I had to clear this area out a little bit, do some cleanup. But as you can see, it's pretty much surrounded by these mesquites. So this provides some nice shade for my bees and the hives, and they'll remain in partial shade, as you can see here, till about 1:30 at this time of the year. But it's kind of secluded. They provide shade. And now another thing that I decided to do when I decided on this spot was a way for the bees to, when they fly out of the hive, and the hive is facing pretty much to the west, but and I enlarged this, but up above there is a nice little window here, as you see, for the bees to fly up and out And they definitely are using that. And this gets the bees up about, at least 20-25 feet in the air, and then wherever they're going to go to forage, to get water or whatever, they're going to be up 25 feet minimum. So that gets them. In other words, when they fly out, they're not going to be. There's no human pathways here, but they can be up in the air. So as they're flying out to forage, they're going to be up in the air already. And it didn't take the bees very long because, as you can see again, it's kind of surrounded by mesquites. And they can fly through the mesquites, of course, but I wanted them to be able to fly out and get up high. So that was my theory. And indeed, that's the case. It didn't take them very long to get up here and fly up through this window here into the mesquites. And when I sit out here and watch the bees, that's definitely what they're doing. So I think this little spot I picked for my apiary is ideal. It just works beautifully. And I do have a small koi pond right off my rear deck. And right now that's where the bees are coming and going from a lot. And we're going to go over and take a quick little video of that. Okay, so this is my little koi pond that's right at the rear of the house. It's only about 300 gallons. There's about 4 goldfish in here. And the other kind of fish that you might be able to see are just some mosquito fish. But over here, this is where my bees are coming, and probably some other bees too. This is where the bees are coming. You should be able to see them flying around. This is where they're coming to get their water. And of course there's other insects that come in here to get water too. So this is a kind of a big watering hole for the bees, and this is where they're coming to get the water. And they don't bother me here. I've had bees here to get water in the past. The fish don't bother the bees are not bothering the fish. These goldfish are not eating the bees or other insects unless they possibly fall in the water, but I feed the goldfish anyway. But this provides a nice little source of water for my bees and maybe other bees. This is probably 150 feet from my apiary. So I do have a water source, as you saw, closer to the my hives, but right now the bees seem to have a preference to come here to the koi pond and get their water. So this is my little apiary, Honig Trail apiary, and for my 2 hives, it's going to serve all my purposes. And if I choose to expand to another, maybe 3 or 4 hives, I could easily do that. But I think I'm going to be happy just with my 2 hives right here. The honey I produce will probably be for my own use. Any extra I might take to the local farmers market and sell. So you'll see. And I'm going to plan on doing more videos, which will be posted here on YouTube on my Honig Trail Apiary channel. So thanks for watching.